let's just play with the idea we want to elevate the track to 40 millimeters above the floor. So we will call this track 40 millimeter inclination. I'll make a new component. And also, as you could see, I'm right-clicking on the base component here. So that really determines where Fusion places the component. If I were to right-click on one of the components and click new component, then the new one will end up under that one in the tree. So that's just a matter of arrangement. You could do that. You could have one base component here for straight tracks, and you can create a lot of components under that with straight tracks, and you can have curves, you can have things. So there are other ways to arrange this. That's a matter of your personal preference. So let's go ahead and repeat the steps that we did before. So let's copy the joiner and paste it. And let's paste it again. And let's set the pivot point. And rotate it 180 degrees. And now we want the inclination to be 40 millimeters. So now we're going to place our second joiner. So press the M key. And we'll do this as long as possible, because we don't want too much vertical angle. We don't want it to be too tight, because that is also going to make it impossible for the train to navigate it. So in my case, I have a Prusa printer, so I'm gonna make it, yeah, let's make it 240, and then I can probably print it in diagonally on the printer. I can probably even make it even bigger, but let's have it 240. So that's the length, and now we need the height, so we will go up 40 millimeters. Click OK. Now we will do the same thing as we did before, but we will place the path vertically instead. So let's go on and create a sketch to choose just the track. P for project. Project. Oh, it didn't catch it for some reason. Oh, that's super weird. Let's press P first and then mark it and see what happens. Yeah, that worked. That's really weird. And there we go. We can mark them, so the sketch is okay. So that sketch is finished. Now we need to create the path. And to do that, we create a new sketch, but we don't place it on the horizontal plane this time. This time we put it on the vertical plane. And now it's really important that we connect it to the right spot. So I will go ahead and click P for project, and I will choose this edge down here on the second joiner, because that's going to be the point where the path ends. And let's click on a spline and connect it to the first joiner. Click a point in the middle, the one we forgot last time, and connect it to the upper one. And now it still has the spline tool activated. So if I click somewhere, it thinks I'm gonna make a new one. So click escape key, and that way you deactivate the tool, so you can start manipulating the spline. So this time we can, oh yeah, don't hold the key too long. So let's move these around and see how our path looks. Something like that, I think. because this is a trade-off. We don't want any of the angles to be too aggressive, but we don't want the incline to be too steep either. So it's really a trade-off there. Now I don't know if this track part is going to work, and which of the trains that are actually going to be able to navigate this one. So don't take it for certain that this will actually work with the trains. This is just to show you how to draw a track, and you need to check what's train you have printed, and you have to look at the mechanics and figure out if you think this is going to work or not. I would actually, if I were going to print this and I really needed this one for example, to go over a lower edge of a door, for example, as a doorstep, I would actually measure the doorstep and see how high it is and make the track as low as possible. And also you might want to do two pieces of the inclination so that these angles here are not too aggressive. But let's go ahead and make this one just to show how it's done. So we do as we did with the S-curve. We make a sweep and we choose our profiles. We select the path. There you have it. There you have the track. Click OK. And let's see that it can join it. Okay, yeah, it joined it just fine. And you can also take a look at the intersections here to see if they are okay. They look okay. So now we need to add some things, because we cannot just have a joiner in midair, and we want the sleepers as well. So let's go ahead and copy the sleeper just as we did last time, and let's insert it with paste. Click OK. Now we're going to make a pattern on path again. So let's select the sleeper, create a pattern on path again, and we select path, and you can see it's not visible here, so we need to expand the sketch, and we choose the visibility on the sketch. Now we can click the path. Now this is an interesting thing that maybe someone at Autodesk can tell me why Fusion is quite often warning about the path. I don't know why it does that, because it still works. But I get that error quite often. But it's not really an informative error, because it doesn't say what's wrong, it just says something's wrong. So again, I'm just eyeballing this. You can measure if you want to. And actually, you can see here, let's try just 240. Yeah, that's okay, because this one is straight. So let's just do like that. And now we have to choose some other things, because as the other one, when we did the S-curve, you remember that the middle parts were not oriented along the track. So we want to do that in this case. So we click on the orientation drop down, and we click path direction. And in this case, it will tilt our sleepers along the track. And also we need to choose how many we want, and I'll choose 10 of them and see how that looks. That looks okay. And we click OK. There we are. And one thing to keep in mind also, if you want to do something that looks really, really good with several track parts that looks like they belong to the same track, you can actually pay a little bit more attention to the width between the sleepers, because it's going to look weird if you have one piece of track that is really wide between the sleepers and another one where they are really, really close together. So that's one thing to probably pay attention to. And you can also take a look at pictures on Google on track and see how close together you want them. Here I'm just eyeballing. I'm just placing them as I think it looks good or good enough. So now we have a piece of track, but as you can see, we cannot print this. This is totally unprintable. So we need to add something under them. But let's first go ahead and join all these so that we have only one body to work with. There we are. And it also tells us that there are no serious errors, as I said before. So what can we do? We could do pillars under these, but that would look quite weird, I think. So let's make a slope here. And there are several ways we could do that, but let's make a sketch on the vertical plane here. And it just struck me that we can actually use the path that we created before. So click the visibility on the path sketch you made and click P for project, and you can select the path and click OK. That will mean that the path you made in the other sketch is projected to our new sketch. So when we unclick the visibility of the old one, we have the path available because we're going to use it to create the slope. So let's see. We want also the joiner here to be supported. So we're going to project the edge here. But let's have a look. Yeah, we need this part to be supported as well. So we cannot end the slope here because it will mean this part of the joiner is just out in thin air and that won't work. And we also want when we have a track piece connected to this one, if we have, for example, a short straight track here as the actual bridge, we want the end of that one to be supported here. So yeah, that's going to be good when we choose that edge. So let's draw something here. So press L for line, and we make a line all the way down to the floor, and we make a line. So let's see where we're going to place it. I think the slope could start at the first sleeper that is sort of hanging in the air here. So let's click here, and as you can see, Fusion doesn't know where to place this line. It doesn't snap here or anything so we need to project also here. So click Escape to end the line tool and click P for project. And we're gonna choose. Let's see what we're gonna choose actually. We can choose this lower part here, so that our slope doesn't start all the way up here. Yeah, let's choose this one. As you can see, you can actually choose features and stuff in when you have a 3D view like this. That can make it easier to actually see what it is you're clicking on. So let's choose this point here. Now we can click on the right here. This is actually good because it makes your sketch perfectly flat again, so that you see what you're drawing. So let's click OK for the project so we don't lose our point, and press L for the line tool, and we make a line here. Now you can see that this line is not vertical, so let's make it vertical. There. So yeah, I'm wondering if we actually should place the slope under sleeper. It doesn't matter because we can use this anyway. But as you can see here, this is not blue, it's white here as well. We cannot click it because it's not a closed surface. So somewhere there's an opening, and I think I know where it is here. Here we have an opening. So let's close that one. Click L for line tool. And let's hope, yeah, now it's blue. Now we can actually extrude this. And if we just pull the arrow here, for one thing, Fusion thinks we want to cut because it's actually intersecting a body somewhere. But we don't want to do that. We want to make a new body for now. We're going to combine it later, but it's actually a good thing to work with a separate body for now. That's gonna make things a lot easier. But you can see also that it's only extruding on one side, and we can fix that. We can, if we want to extrude it at different values, we can make two sides. But in this case, we want it symmetrical. So just choose symmetric in direction, and then if we pull, it will pull out the other side as well. Now this is a matter of taste. If you want just the simplest design, you could do like this and leave it. But I'm gonna go ahead and make it a little bit more advanced. Let's make it like that, and let's try to make this look a little bit better. We can choose modify and add a chamfer. And from previous things I've done, I had two distances selected here, but the simplest one is equal distance. So let's choose that. Yeah, I think that looks good. So let's see if we can join these together. Yeah, we could. So there you have it. That's track inclination 40 millimeter. Maybe that's not the right word to use, but I'll choose that for now. And we could actually do a little experiment here. We could actually see what this looks like if you actually create a bridge, because we've already created a straight piece of 50 millimeter track, and just for fun we can see what it would look like. So in order to do that, we can actually make a new component for that. We call it bridge test. And inside that one, we copy the inclination we just did and paste it. And just keep the placement, it doesn't matter. And we unclick the visibility of the original one, because now you can see that we actually copied a component, and that's what we wanted this time. So go ahead and paste another one. But this one we're gonna rotate. Now here it's sometimes tempting to use the mirror tool, but the mirror is actually I can show you what happens if we were to use the mirror tool here. Let's see what happens. And we mirror here, and we make a new body. And you see what happens here. The joiners, they don't work, because now you cannot connect the track. So that's why mirror doesn't work. And that's also why there's a lot of work when you make a switch or a turnout, and you're going to make the right and left hand of them. You cannot mirror them. But in this case, we will rotate the other one instead, because this is not a switch, so it's easier. Set the pivot point, and in this case, we want to rotate it on this side. So as you can see, Fusion wants to snap at different points, and our base here is completely flat and it's completely mirrored, so Fusion can easily figure out the middle. So you can see here that it wants to snap to the middle, so we do that. We click done and we rotate 180 degrees. Now if you click if you choose plus 180 or minus 180, that doesn't matter. And now there is something that I maybe haven't discussed earlier, and that is that you have something here called capture position. And that's really important because if you don't click this, then Fusion thinks that you only want to try something. You don't want to really implement it. So click capture position. That way Fusion will not revert this as you make some new changes and do something else. And we could actually move these apart already now. But we're not going to do that just yet, because we're going to insert our straight piece first. So let's copy the straight piece and paste it. And move it up 40 millimeter. And let's see so that it ends up in the right position. Yeah, there. Click OK. I can see now that you probably need a longer straight piece to, if you're gonna traverse a doorstep there. It's gonna be a really tiny doorstep for this to fit. Now I can move I was already almost saying mirrored, but it's not mirrored. The copied and rotated inclination. So let's move it. And now you can see something here that I only moved it 40 millimeter. And that's because our edge is not where the track begins. And you can see also that the placement I did now is not really perfect. But this gives us an idea of what it would look like when you actually use this, and you can of course make you can use a longer straight piece here. So this will actually work as a small bridge